always, running on the.
Hi, everybody. We're just going to give people a couple more minutes to join us before we get started. I'm so excited for our discussion tonight. It's still pretty early over there for you, right?
It's 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. I hope everybody was able to get in okay. I haven't seen any messages or anything, so it should be good. Excellent. Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and get started? Welcome, everybody. My name is Radha Patel, and you guys are here for Single to Shadi's Mindful Dating Book Club. Basically, it's a time for us to kind of come together and discuss topics that are related to being South Asian, dating, all of the above. And we like to always kind of bring it back to our community and highlight authors that are, speaking about some of the same common stories that we hear, struggles that we face in our lives, or maybe bringing light or attention to things that we aren't always able to give voice to. So, with that as our theme, I am so excited to announce our guest host or guest author for tonight, as well as our book that we have read to discuss. So, I would like to introduce our special friend, Jyoti Dhanota. Also goes by Geet is Booked from her, I guess, the author name or pseudonym. Geet slash Jyoti, we have done a couple of books together in the past, and I think we've shared an Instagram live or something, but we just really love the way that you tell stories and, represent your section of the community and share it with the rest of the world. So with that, I would love to just introduce you, and if you would like to say hello to everybody.
Awesome. Yes, definitely. Hi, everyone. I'm Gate. I prefer to be called Gate. Um, yeah, so just a little bit about myself. I started writing as a way to kind of get out of depression. I had my uncle and his family like come over from India in 2021. It was very like hostile environment, and a lot of that can be seen in the Kiyak Within Us, which is my debut novel. And after that, I just kind of fell in love with writing, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Geet has published in the double digits of books, and while well, hopefully one day we'll be able to feature them all. Today, yeah, today specifically, we are discussing the book that we chose for the month of July, which is called Contracted Together. I really, really enjoyed this book because it touches a lot on what we here are here to discuss relationships and dating, or not dating per se, but relationships, specifically contracted or arranged formalized marriages. So, Geet, why don't we maybe just start by a little bit about what inspired this story, and maybe could you give us a little bit about the characters?
Oh, okay. So a lot of this story is actually called I call it my personal revenge book because in the book you see like Arya's character and like the way Mona is with her family. So a lot of that is inspired by like true story. And I like literally texted today. I was like, we need to talk about page 82. Okay, like this has to be talked about because that is actually something that is real life based, right? So back in 2022 or 2021, like around there, my sister had gotten into like a car accident and I was the one who was like taking her around everywhere, basically doing everything as much as I could for her. And what she told me instead was, how does it feel to be the unsuccessful big sister? So that's when Contracted Together came about. And I kid you not, this book, as soon as I put it out on like LBD or anything, like it just took off. It's the first book that gave me like $100 in royalties, like right away. So I call it my revenge book. So yeah, that's how it came about.
That's awesome. And for everybody who's just joining us, you don't know, hi Sri. Geet is she is started by self-publishing, and this is really an accomplishment to be able to earn money from your baby and so quickly. That just validates how that story resonates with everybody who's here.
Right. Yes, definitely.
So for the folks that are on the call, if anybody's read the book, we would love for you to chime in and jump in with questions. I did pull some questions just so that we could have a robust discussion here. So, Sri, since you're on, did you by any chance read the book Contracted Together?
Nathan, I'm too happy to see you after a long time.
Yes, happy summer. Awesome. Okay,
Happy Tuesday to all of you.
happy Tuesday. So we were really excited to dive in a little bit more on the character. So we know that there's page 82 based on a real situation sort of in life. But
My boss is on.
hello and welcome.
Oh,
Hi, I'm here to support.
she's the best. I love her.
Way to support. You are the best. I won't put you on the spot, but if you've read the book, you're welcome to ask questions as well.
Yeah, no, so yeah, as you were saying, page 82, yes, it's based off the like true as we were going about like my sister and her car accident. So like even when like she had like a cyst rupture or anything of that sort, I basically was the one taking her to the hospital, like pushing the wheelchair around, doing anything like just like I'm not asking like give me the credit for it. But like in return, what she said was just, how does it feel to be the unsuccessful big sister?
mm,
So now I've taken it upon myself to just be like, I'm gonna push this, and I have like these goals in life that I'm gonna be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna manifest this when it comes time. And that's why like Contracted Together is like one of the, if not the most important book. Is I mean, I know it's not my debut novel, but it's like if anybody was like to come up to me, I would be like, this is the book I'm gonna push. If you want to make a movie, here, have this book. If you want me to make a TV series, take this book. So,
yes, because it represents so much, right? That ethos of what you're trying to get across in your writing, and it's really beautifully put together. So let's dive in. We have Zavian, who is this, busy guy. He's just, he
right.
technically runs a marriage business, and he's just like,
Right.
this is one thing, I got to keep my CEO hat, I got to stay focused.
Yes.
But then he's married to this complete opposite woman in
Right.
Mona. She's a kindergarten teacher. She just loves to see life and vibrancy. um it's an opposites attract kind of situation, but not really. How did you decide to put these two opposite characters together?
So, Mona's background with teaching is also like I used to be a middle school teacher. So, like the lockdown and stuff was also something that I've experienced. I've had three lockdowns, which is why I quit teaching in the first place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that took a toll on my mental health, and I was like, I am out. Bye. So, yeah, so that's why there is a chapter based on like a lockdown as well when he was like firing someone, and then he like sees that the TV screen like breaking news like the school is on lockdown, you know. So there's that aspect, and then I think this was my first time writing like a millionaire trope. So that's kind of why I was like, I've done like second chance romance. I had done enemies to lovers. I had done acquaintances to lovers, and beautiful mistake. Like book four was supposed to be my last book until my sister said that. That's why book five, Contracted Together, exists.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your writing. And again, for anybody who's read the book, you have questions specifically about it, or for Geeth in general, please put it in the chat. But I'm so excited to share with the audience that now you're working on a series and you've released part of the series already. Could we talk a little bit about maybe how those first five books that you listed for us, how is your approach to writing the series different? Are you maybe taking a different angle on things, and how are you evolving as an author?
So I definitely am doing the whole like this is a whole 180 for me because each book is kind of just like okay, this book's gonna have that and it's gonna like be done. It'll be like bye, see ya whenever I see you. But with the series, it's like I have to build the characters in book one. So I have to build the timeline in book one. So then by book four, because I'm only putting a book out, which a lot of people don't like me for this, but I'm ending it on a cliffhanger. And then it's like, okay, summer release. Now the cliffhanger, you'll get it in the fall, which is going to also end on a cliffhanger, which you'll get in the winter, and then this in the spring. So every season you'll be getting like a book, but just like the four seasons. Um,
Almost like a
so
subscription service.
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, I had to be like very knowing of which character I want to pair with which character and what trope I want to put for their book.
Mm.
Like a lot of people already have figured out, like in book one, they already know that Gia and Viraj are getting a second chance romance. And that's like, in my mind, I was like, that's book four, but everybody's like, okay, this book is going to be next. And I'm like, no, it's not. Losers.
Do you think, have you ever felt from your fans to have fans input influenced your work or the direction you would take it?
Oh, I use their names. The ones that have been supporting me, like Ruhani. Okay, so Ruhani Mehta, like that's not her real name. Her real name is Ruhani though, but she has been supporting me since like the start. So in the Billionaire's Gambit, the main character's name is Ruhani.
Oh, that's
Yes.
so fun. So fans out there, give Geet some positive reviews, give her a shout out, and maybe your name will be featured in her next novel. Awesome. Well, it's coming back to contracted together.
Right.
What I really loved about this is the concept of arranged marriage or
Mhm.
contracted marriage. People always ask me, like, matchmaking, is this what you do? Is it arranged marriage? And obviously, that's not what we do. But
Yeah.
culturally, that's what people think about. So,
Yeah.
in your novel, how did you want to kind of bring out the cultural aspect of arranged marriages from back in the day? And what ways did you want to change that notion and be like, no, 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 this is not an arranged marriage. It's really for entertainment.
Um, Not necessarily for contracted together, but you will see a lot of that in the next book that's coming out for like second book in the series. That's mostly arranged because in book one, the fathers announced like, oh, we're gonna marry our kids because we've been best friends for so long and we're gonna officially become family and stuff like that, which we've seen a lot in like Bollywood movies and stuff like that. Contracted together, more the contract aspect is what I've seen in like the rich people world, let's put it that way. Like here's like a prenup, and that's kind of what the contract aspect of that is. It's like, hey, sign this. This is what you get. This is what I get. And that's how I came up with the idea of like, okay, let's do contracted instead because a lot of people, I don't know if it's just our culture, but I guess the way that we grew up, we didn't even know what prenups were. You were just kind of thrown into this arranged marriage, you know.
Do you think that's kind of what the Ambani situation is? They had some sort of contract going into that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. They had every celebrity there, even the Kardashians and everything. And I don't even follow the Kardashians. And like they had like John Cena there too. And I'm like, what?
He was enjoying himself. But I would
Right.
like, to tie it back to our culture a little bit, from what I understand of the old dowry system, it was
Right.
a contract. It was you give me this
Right.
for we giving you our son or whatever, however it goes. Um,
Right.
so that was kind of how it situationally arose, was a contract. Yeah.
In
How
that sense, yes.
how then do you layer in that aspect of love and compromise in your story? How does that evolve?
So you see it throughout, like the she falls first, but he falls harder trope, that kind. My favorite thing to read and write is he falls first and he falls harder. That's like my goal. When I was doing one of my photo shoots, which I think is like on my page, I think I captioned it "Manifesting a Man Written by a Woman." So, yeah.
Oh, so her page, everyone who's on the call, is at Geet is booked. If you guys, however you found us, we do have her tagged in all of that. So please do follow her page. You can go to her Amazon page. All of her books and novels are on there. So again, we love Geet's books and writing. So please do support her. So we talked a little about love and marriage or love and compromise. That's
Right.
obviously going to lead to conflict. What would you
Yes.
say is like in the beginning or original themes of conflict? How did the characters evolve so that the later, bigger conflict that arises, they're able to obviously ultimately resolve it?
So the biggest thing is them kind of hitting their matching point, I guess. Like, okay, like I can do this, you can handle this aspect of things. I'm trying to say it without giving spoilers to people that haven't read the book. So yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just kind of knowing like what like compromise is so important in relationships and stuff. I think that especially after we see how Mona like it's that lockdown kind of scenario when he's at the hospital. No, not that. When she goes to visit the dad's grave And then
Yes.
she tells him like, hey, I visited your dad's grave, and that's when he kind of realizes like, she's kind of in this to be in it. And like at the start too, like he's like, why did this person even agree? And she's like, I wanted out of my family. Like that's it. I just needed to get out as soon as I could.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of family, obviously we know there's the tension and the driving point there with Mona. Um,
Mhm.
can you, again, without giving a lot of stuff away,
Yeah.
was that family tension or that role of family based on life influence or something that you had seen? And what how did their expectations influence ultimately what Mona ends up doing?
So the sister aspect of it, because I don't know if that was just really hurting with the comment and everything, but everything's like very true to my life in that sense.
Hmm.
Um, but like with Zavian's, it's a whole like I need tension. I need to create stuff off the top of my head. So Zavian's story is not like something I could. It's just made up. It's fictional. Um, Arya's like not every single thing is like real, but a majority of it is.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And then did you feel purposefully, again, maybe tying into the broader Indian subculture, did you feel like that family drama needed to be included? Is that something that we put in
Yeah.
because we're brown? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely because we're brown, there has to be family drama everywhere because we're brown, especially as a female, you have to make the in-laws the bad guys, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there, keeping your in-laws the bad guys, cultural stuff, was there maybe an element of modern versus old school or modern versus traditional, East versus West?
Um, so my reason of doing the in-law kind of drama is because the four books I'd written prior didn't really have any of that. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, like if I want to push this book and this is gonna be the book, like when I was writing it, I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like even I didn't even know like back in like 2022 when I was writing this or 20 when did this book come out, guys? 2022. So
Yeah,
when I was reading
22.
it, sorry, I have like 13 books out. I don't remember which one came out when, okay.
That's
Um,
amazing. 13 books. This is such an accomplishment. Wow.
thank you. So, yeah, this book, I didn't know about like manifesting or like I didn't believe in like the universe and stuff. I really do like this year, especially more. But I just had this feeling that this is the book, like this is gonna be that book. So I was like, you know what? Let me just more drama. We need drama. So that's how I came up with the idea of having that in-laws drama as well. But also Aaron and Zavian, their bond is
Mm.
actually like my brother and I kind of like he's not married or like the single dad yet. He's like so young. But my brother and I have like that bond. So that's why like a lot of my books have like a mostly brother bond or like a brother sister bond because for the life of me, I cannot write a sister sister bond because I don't know that feeling.
Hmm.
I could write a bad sister bond. I did, but I
Well, and I think too, right, as a female, I enjoy seeing that when the brother plays that role, that protective, caring role. So if you had that in your life, that healthy relationship, it's great. Obviously, it's going to come out onto the page. That's beautiful.
right. Yeah.
That leads me to another question regarding kind of your style, right? Do you use symbolism or imagery? Are there kind of red herrings or things that you plant in for a reader to pull through as they're going through your narrative?
I don't think so. I just kind of just write. If it was like a mystery or something, I definitely would. But see, that's the thing. Like with Beautiful Mistake, you would have to have read um like the first book too, because that's the sequel. But then if you connect both books, you would be like, oh, of course it was this person, because Beautiful Mistake is kind of like a mystery aspect. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Would you ever write a mystery or a thriller?
I don't know because I have these like theories, and then I'm gonna actually go back and write the sequel to the first book.
Interesting. Okay. Kind of like
I'm
Colleen
on board.
Hoover, where she flips the Verity. Oh yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I
Wonderful.
definitely will write like children's books because like I want to have some books that I can just like donate to like people that like work with kids and like libraries and stuff like that. Just like have my books and just be like, hey, you guys could read these. Like it doesn't cost anything. They're just take it. Yeah.
That is amazing. Yeah, way to give back. be a
Mhm.
part of the community. Well, speaking of kind of themes and how you are moving into the series aspect,
Yeah,
we in our pre-call had talked a little bit about how it's more spicier than what we've read so far in your work.
right.
Why
It
the
is.
change and what should readers expect?
Yeah, definitely. Because it's my first series, I wanted to add some like more drama, more spice, more, well, not even more spice, spice in general, because I've never written any of that. So a lot of like the series I had like a lot of beta reading done for it. So it's like the timeline. A lot of people were like, "Hey, I can't follow this timeline." I'm like, "Okay, cool. We're gonna go back and fix that." Or like this makeup brand thing. They're like, "Where'd this come from? This just like out of left field." I was like, "Okay, delete that." So a lot of beta reading was involved in the series coming out.
Okay.
So there were a lot of people involved in for books in general. There's usually people behind the scenes, like editors, cover artists, everything of that sort. But for this one, there was like a lot of beta reading involved too.
That's interesting. You equate it as a beta reading because you then also said editor. What would beta reading, how is that different than what an editor does?
Their job is just to read and be like, where'd you get this from? Why is this here? Who is this? Or you're missing this detail. Um, Editors, they'll like hit the grammar. They'll hit like, hey, you're did a whole what's it called, like a jump.
Mm.
I know there's a word for it, but I can't remember.
Like
It's like
time warp?
oh, sorry.
Time warp?
No,
No.
no, it's like a jump. It's like a chapter jump or like I don't know what it's called, but it's
Yeah.
something like
So they would help kind of keep that seamless flow. And whereas beta is more so like focus group or making
that.
sure that the story and the plot hits.
Yeah, because one of the people, one of the girls, Anna, she shout out to her, but she was reading it and she's like, "Hey, like we like there's a chapter that they go to Italy, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the next chapter starts, and she's like, "Were we not just in Italy 2 weeks ago?" Like she's like, "What? Where did this whole jump happen from?" And I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's go back and add some more."
That's wonderful. And the fact that you're able to, let your creativity out so quickly, like, and then you mentioned 13 books and counting, you still have so many more ideas. How are you like working on books simultaneously? Do you work linearly? What is your thought process?
So right now, I'm not working like as much as I used to, basically on the books because I'm waiting for the correct like fall because I don't want it to be October when it comes out because that's when all the Halloween books will take over. Then
Hmm.
November, it's still fall, but it's like right between like Christmas, so I can like release it then, So it's very like I'm gonna start writing in August again, basically. And then beta readers need about a month. So that gives them September. October, I can do all my editing. By November, a book should be coming out, if not October, because not everybody likes to read like scary books. So
That is amazing how quickly you can like just come up with an idea and execute on it within 90 days, go to market.
right. It's just like my therapist told me this too. She's like, "You're too creative. That's the problem."
It's just
And I was
bursting
like,
with
"Yeah."
ideas.
As soon as my head hits the pillow, it's like, oh, like this. That idea's coming. And I'm like, I'm trying to sleep, man. I got work tomorrow.
That's amazing. So, folks on the call, if anybody has read the book or read any other work of Geet's, please jump on. You're welcome to ask questions. In the meantime, Geet is an editor and she does offer editing and, those kind of services. Geet, you want to talk a little bit about how you fit all of that, even that aspect into your busy life when you're writing, working, and now also offering editing services?
Yeah, I usually just save that for like the weekends. And I'm very, very like it has to be like communicated, very like contracted. No, no, no pun on anything. But yeah, so I will let the author or whoever I'm working with kind of know like, hey, here's your turnaround period. My goal is always to like give them a longer period and then just deliver earlier so they could be like, whoa, she's so cool. And I'm like, yeah.
Excellent. Is there anything projects that you rather focus on? Like, are you mostly for fiction editing?
I do prefer like romance editing. I have done fantasy. I've done like nonfiction, fantasy. I did like a mafia book editing as well. So it's a lot. Yeah.
Folks on the call, regardless if you've read the book or not, I'd love to just hear from anybody, and you can welcome to put it in the chat if you don't want to speak out loud. But the concept of a contracted marriage where it's like, hey, I just, we need something, let's put this on paper and get it done. Have you guys ever heard of something like that? Or is there an example like that that maybe you could fathom or think about, what came to my mind originally was like, hey, citizenship, green card, status, that kind of contracted marriage.
Yeah. I learned from doing research on that too, that that's legal because I was what book is it in? Twice in a Lifetime. Twice in a
Oh,
Lifetime.
legal. I
When
think
I was writing. So none of my books are like not researched. Like if I'm putting, even though it's fictional, I'm like, I'm gonna research everything before I write.
that's amazing. I think that kind of adds to the storytelling aspect of it because then we can trust you as the author to actually build a real world or as close to real life scenario as possible. It's amazing.
Yeah, so that's why I put that in. It's in Twice in a Lifetime.
You've mentioned a little bit earlier about possibly, if you ended up getting picked up for a series or a movie, this would be the book that you chose, Contracted Together.
Yeah.
Anything like that in the works, or have you been talking with anyone?
No, not yet. I am just like on podcasts and promoting my books, talking about like life in general, stuff like that. But I mean, when the time comes, because like I said, like I am more spiritual than religious. So when like divine timing is something like I really believe in when it comes to like finding the right person, finding the right job, finding like anything, right? So I'm just gonna be like, when it comes, I'll just like I trust the universe to give like my affirmation is I'm always at the right place at the right time.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I think that kind of attitude we can carry with that in all aspects of life, whether we're publishing books, whether we're out here dating, doing our day to day, just having that trust and faith that everything right's going to come in the right time. Awesome.
Yeah. So and it's like less stressful too. Like I know like I used to be one of those people that was like a people pleaser, very like, oh my God, like why is this not happening? Why is it not getting done? And then I was just like, you know what? It's not even in my hands, so why do I care?
Mhm. That's an interesting point. Speaking of family, when you were getting into writing, was it like a foreign thing? Your parents were like, what is this girl doing? Or did you get support? And maybe how have they now come around seeing that you published 13 novels?
Um, well, let me put it this way. They didn't know I was writing when I was doing my debut novel. Or yeah, so like now my mom just yesterday actually, after all this time, yesterday she's like, "Oh, I saw your thing on YouTube, like a podcast you did with somebody." She's like, "Oh, like there's so many of them." And I'm like, "Yes, correct." Like the books will literally come through Amazon. They'll pick it up and they'll be like, "There's a package for you." And I'm like, "It's a book I wrote." And then they'll just move on with life. And I'm like, "Cool." So yeah. So I've had a little more like strangers kind of support, like not even like friends or like family in that sense. Um, because even with my debut novel, like my sister bought it and then she's like, "This is the worst book I've ever read. Like this is horrible, this and that." I'm like, cool.
Maybe it was constructive criticism because you kept going and you
Right,
kept evolving and here you are now. Wow.
right, yeah. But I just kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's just like the older sister and like being brown, and it's like, okay, whatever, I'll like forgive you after everything. But I'm still like walking on eggshells and stuff. But even with that aspect, I'm just like, okay, like, you're not allowed to read any of my work. You're not allowed to buy it anymore.
Well, she's
I
allowed to
have,
inspire it because you write good books when they're inspired by her.
right? Yes, you are allowed to inspire my work.
Wonderful.
Because I'm like, I have access to the Amazon, right? I'm like, I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna delete it if you don't.
Oh, if she orders. All right, we got a question from Utkarsh. He's asking, what advice would you give someone who is in a contracted marriage? Good question, Utkarsh.
That is a really, I actually don't even know because one, that's like the prenup aspect of it again, right? It's like
Mhm.
make sure you have your I's dotted, your T's crossed when you're writing that prenup. Get yourself a good lawyer. Um, And if it works out, like, you don't have to tell anybody that it was contracted. Like that's what Zavian and Mona, like, he doesn't tell Aaron, like literally, he doesn't tell his brother until like almost the end when he's like, oh my God, my year is ending, you know. And Mona literally doesn't tell anybody at all.
And then they
So
fall.
if it works out, like, just say it was you guys. Like, who needs to know there was a contract?
Yeah, I just thought of another scenario when we were talking about other ways a contracted marriage could happen. People sometimes are, if you've heard the term beard, where they get into a marriage of convenience to help, it happened a lot, especially when gay marriage wasn't allowed. They
Yeah.
would have those, fake marriages. And again, same thing. There's a TV show in the 70s. You remember called Three's Company, where he had to
I do, yes.
So it's interesting to see that this concept has been around. It's not just something that's the Indian inherently in nature.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have written marriage of convenience tropes as well.
You mentioned this concept of tropes or themes a couple of times. You don't necessarily have a background in English literature or writing or storytelling. How did you teach yourself about all of this, or how are you constantly still learning on
Honestly, I just try to learn as fast as I can. Even like with work, I'm just like, if I have a question, then I'll be like, bruh, I need help. Like, somebody help me. Other than that, I'm just like, okay, like literally my favorite thing is to write things down as we're talking. Even with therapy, like I have like literally a notebook for therapy. For work, I have like a whenever I meet with somebody, I'm like, okay, this is what they need. Like, okay, right. And then just split back, you know? So that's one thing. And then I am like usually, like I said, I'm like a fast learner. And then one thing also is like reading other people's work,
yeah.
which counts as a text write-off for me because I put research on it. So I could get books for free, basically.
Who are some of your favorite authors?
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love Stephanie Gerber. I'm not even kidding. I like loved her Once Upon a Broken Heart series that I got a perfume of it too.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Perfume of it too. And then Holly Jackson. I am like in love with Holly Jackson's work, like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Like I didn't even know the main character, like his last name is Singh.
Oh,
So like I picked it up. I was not expecting to fall in love with the book, and now it's like a series. And my sister has my copies of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I'm like, read this series. You have to read it. It's amazing. It's already out on Netflix, and this girl hasn't read it yet. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to your freaking condo. I'm gonna go to your library. I'm gonna take my books back at this point.
just watch it on TV like the plebes.
But yeah, definitely my favorite Holly Jackson for sure. I do read like Anna Hong books, but that's because they're always like so on like Book Talk or Twitter. They're always like talked about in such a positive way, and then I read it, and then I'm disappointed again, and I'm just like, why do I keep doing this to myself?
Book Talk sometimes gets me too. I'm in a couple of book clubs, and we recently got one recommendation from there, and it was very spicy and interesting to say the least. And we're not going back to this.
Like Sarah J. Maas books are like that too. I read it because I was like trending a lot, and then here's the problem with that. I fell in love with Nesta as the eldest daughter, and everybody hates Nesta, and I'm just like, what's wrong with you guys?
You could identify.
Because like, especially Court of Silver Flames, like her, like the last one that's out right now, is like she shuts the world out when she's like depressed, and that's what I do. I'm like, don't talk to me. I'm not answering your email. I'm not answering your text. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone. That's how I do depression too. So I was just like relating to her, and everybody's like, well, she's the eldest. She should have taken care of the youngest. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm done. I'm moving on.
Well, I mean, I think that's a sign of a good book, and kind of even when we're reading yours, is can you see yourself in the character? Can you identify with what they're going through? Um, oh, great question. Bara's asking, though it's unconventional to contract, add dates, love and happiness, contract clauses, all that. Is there a way that you can still enjoy the ride?
Possibly. I mean, it really just depends on the person that you are with, like your partner, because if they can like vouch for you and like in-law scenarios and stuff like that, then you're with the right person. But if not, it's very like it's like Reddit stories basically. I'm like obsessed with Reddit too. So it's like a very like Reddit. That's like the thing you don't want is to end up on the side of Reddit. You want to stay on like the good side and not have like ever a post made about you.
I think that's good advice for life.
Yes.
But Chris had a follow-up question.
Yes.
So do you feel that when there's contract situations or what, do you feel like this is like ripe for affairs or open relationships?
Well, here's the thing. Open relationships need to be discussed, otherwise it's cheating, right?
Yeah.
So if you have like permission from both sides for an open relationship, I wouldn't say it's cheating. It's not something I would ever be like okay with, and like it's not something I would ever be okay with. But I definitely do think that affairs could happen. But it's also that aspect of like you're still cheating.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Because contracted or not, still marriage.
Right. Still a marriage.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Geet, any other last words or kind of we know you're writing the series. We're excited to get onto the seasonal releases. How should people find, stay in touch with you? What do you want us to know?
So editing, if anybody ever wants to write, there's like the key thing, because I'm actually have two people like under my wing. Well, I had to. One of them was just, I don't want to talk about her anymore. But so I like had two people that I trained, I guess you could say, in the writing world. One of them is still like working on her debut novel. One of them has a book out. We worked on her second one. She just broke my trust completely, and I was like just a mess. I had like panic attacks and stuff. But I basically am doing that on the side. It's like, hey, I want to write my first book. What can I do? It's like, okay, what do you want to write about? What ideas do you have? How are you gonna put them from imagination to paper? And I don't write like a Google Doc. Like I don't have a Google Doc open where I'm like writing. I write on my phone as ideas come to me, and then I expand that chapter out.
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah,
had told us that you don't write in a timeline fashion, right?
yeah. I'm gonna show you some. Yeah,
Okay.
like let me. What? No, that's not what I wanted. This right here.
Okay.
This is the chapters on my phone, and then they get sent to Google,
Yep.
and then Google. I mean, after like I'll share it to my email, run it through Grammarly, put the doc together. Where like the hard part is like I'll know what's chapter one and I'll know what's like epilogue, but then kind of putting that flow together, you know. But it's easier for me to write as the ideas come to me instead of writing like beginning, middle, and end. So as an author, the biggest thing is you have to unlearn that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's more so you're writing the vignettes or the short stories, and then you weave in the theme.
Basically, yes. No, I mean, no, I do write the whole chapter when
Oh,
ideas
you write
come.
the whole chapter. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will put like right now, because I haven't written book two, but like on my like whiteboard, it'll say like the ideas, and the goal is to like expand the idea out.
Mhm. We got a question asking, how do you feel love can develop from such a transactional experience? Is it even possible? We know we saw in the book that ultimately they fell in love, but
Yeah,
do you think that's like realistic?
it could be like I mentioned earlier. It really just depends on your partner.
Mhm.
Depends on who the partner is. Depends on what they do for like you. If you're have like a single parent aspect, which is like one thing in the book, The Final Offer.
Okay.
I forgot who it is, but it's part of the Dreamland Billionaire series. It's book three in that Dreamland Billionaire series. And like he took care of not just the partner, but he also took care of her daughter.
Shreya.
Hi, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know if we're supposed to raise our hand or whatever, but I was gonna say to that question, it reminded me of another book. It's called There's Something About Sweetie, and I wrote down the author. It's by Sandhya Menon, and it's not contract and marriage, but it's about teenagers. It's like a light rom-com type of book with teenagers. And in that book, like the parents basically set the two of them up and then write up a contract like you can go on these 4 dates. Like the first one is to the mandir, the second the temple, the second one is to like I don't know, to see like their grandparents or something, and they eventually do end up falling in love. And I thought it's an interesting concept because it's not only like marriages, but it's like some relationships. That's how they start, you know? And I think a lot of people here don't understand sometimes that concept, but it seems it's common like in the Indian culture.
It
As
is. It's very
a
common.
parent.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of the second book in the series. It's like sort of like that too, you know, when I like in book one, you'll see like the two fathers have arranged for their kids to be engaged and get married.
We're gonna have to add that to the list, Shreya. That's such a good recommendation. And yeah, for everybody else who's on the call, we are always open to recommendations. We love it if there's a South Asian author or South Asian element involved, but it doesn't have to be. So Shreya, I will add that to our recommendations list.
And that's why I chose like South Asian representation as well, because my goal for for anybody that doesn't know is I write about topics considered taboo in South Asian communities. So I've written books about divorce, infertility, infidelity, um, in-laws trauma, emotional incest. Emotional incest is what we were going to talk about. That's the word.
That's the one, and I used it this week too. I was talking to somebody, I'm like, I just learned a new term. Geet, would you like to share with everybody this amazing term that you've coined or you use and enlighten me on?
Yes, Sarada learned about this word this week too. It's called emotional incest, and that's basically when the mother of like the guy, especially for like no offense to all you brown guys listening, but it's like the mother has like a more relation with her son, and she wants to have like that relationship support that you're supposed to find in a husband through her son instead. So that's emotional incest basically because she wants the husband aspect, but she wants it with her son.
Absolutely. We love it. Wait, what was the question? Where were we going with this?
I don't. Oh no, I was talking about like the topics, and then you said something during our pre-call that you wanted to bring up about emotional incest.
Yes. So, Supriya said, love supporting South Asian authors. Great job on the book.
Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. All right. Well, Geet, we really enjoyed having you back. You're our first repeat author. We can't wait to dive into more of your amazing novels and, change up the theme as you continue to grow and evolve. For folks on the call, please do follow her on Instagram at Geet is Booked. And if you're out there thinking about writing your own book or just starting to dabble in writing, she's a great resource. Definitely reach out to her. Actually, Sabri has a great question. How was the self-publishing process? She would love to learn.
Oh my God, it was so hard. Like, I kid you not, because I didn't really have anybody to go to. As Radha mentioned, I'm not an English major. I'm not like an education major or anything of that sort. So that's why I would love to help anybody that wants the help because it's very, very hard. I had to find a team on Etsy out of all places. Yeah, I kid you not. I had to find people on Etsy. So cover art, interior layout, editors, and stuff like that. Like I found them on Etsy, and now I'm like in Facebook pages and stuff where it's like easier to find people. But the first book that I did, it was just if you see the first cover and then you see like the second cover. I kid you not. After I started writing, I realized people don't like third person point of view. So I literally went back and rewrote the entire debut novel in first person dual point of view because people just didn't like their. So yeah.
So, well, speaking of Etsy, you mentioned as well, like your cover art, how like that's a part of the process for you as well.
Yeah, this is from Etsy. It's okay. So this cover, you know how like in our weddings, like Indian weddings, I don't know about like your guys's, but like in Sikh weddings, we have like the welcome to like the Anand Karaj of like so and so, right?
Yep.
So I asked the guy, I was like, hey, what if we turned this into a book cover? And I wonder if I can hold on. I want to show you guys something actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can share my screen.
Should be able to.
But so yeah, I went on Etsy and I said, I don't need a sign for a wedding. Let's turn this into a book cover. That's what I did.
It is beautiful.
Yeah. So I am waiting to see if I can. Okay, I will have to find her.
Supriya said she liked the cover of Chaos Within Us. That was the first book of yours
Yeah,
that she had read.
that is my debut novel. I had to redo the cover. I had to redo like literally any and everything that you could possibly think of.
She's asking, and if you're comfortable, how much does a typical person charge, or how much did your artist charge for your cover art?
Okay, so I actually, for this one, he charged the same as it is for the wedding signage. But I actually have a friend I met on Twitter through K-pop, and we're like best friends, and I call her my adopted daughter. So she
Oh,
does them for free. She's my daughter, like my adopted daughter, so she does the covers for free.
so
But
make a friend who's an artist. That's your suggestion.
that's a big, I didn't know she was into art or anything. We were just like K-pop, and like we would just talk about our K-pop groups and just go to concerts. Like we went to like a concert together in LA back in like 2018. And we kind of just like stuck, like, which is crazy because now we have like every Christmas we'll do like a gift exchange, and they live in Nevada. And so it's like we do a Zoom just like this, but for like we open our Christmas gifts together and everything of that sort too.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm still trying to see if I can find, because I want to show you guys.
Sure. In the meantime, I'll read Shree's comment. He said, I love Jyoti's stories. It is so interesting. Could you please let me know what is the name of the book? So the book, Shree, I'll write it in the chat here. The book we've read this month was called Contracted
Together.
Together. I put it in the chat, Shree. And while Geeth is looking that up, I want everybody to know who's on the call. So August is our astrology themed month, and our book club meeting for next month is a little bit different. It's more of a workshop book. Shweta Gandhi is a Canadian Vedic astrologer who's kind of semi-famous. She's been featured in some major publications, but she released a book last year that's about a little bit manifestation, a little bit like workshop planning. And so that is the book that we've chosen to feature for next month. Grab a copy of it. Even if you don't necessarily do the exercises, it's going to be great. She is going to be on the call with us, just like Geet was tonight. So really excited about that. You can find out more on our website or through the Luma link where you joined today.
Of course, I can't find it now. I know I have it in here somewhere, guys. But it's basically, so I went on Etsy, and she gave me like three options I could choose from, which is like amazing. And of course, I can't find any of them now. But yeah, let me see if I can put it here.
Bharat, to answer your question, Shweta will not be doing a reading. We're going to be kind of going through her book exercises. There is an astrology workshop where we'll be doing readings. But that one is not part of the book club. But definitely, I'll send you the information, Bharat.
Of course, you know, when you need something, you can't find it at that moment.
Yeah. No worries. You know, if you do find it, Geet, I can always send it out to everybody who is here today through our platform. So no worries.
But you know, I'll still just share my screen just so you guys can see kind of like behind the scenes and stuff. So let me share screen. Google share. So this is basically what I did. So with Aman, yeah, with Aman, right? I gave her these like wedding signages, basically.
Yeah.
And what she did in return was so I told her, I was like, hey, you know, this is for a series, so let's do white, off-white, ivory, right? Just so because we have like one color for the series or something.
Sure.
And basically this is kind of like the behind the scenes and stuff. So you need to know like what your dimensions of the book are gonna be, because you're gonna need it for Amazon. Because as a self-publisher, you're gonna publish on Amazon, so you're gonna say like, hey, I want the spine of 5x8. I need PDF 5x8 and everything of that sort too. And then digital for self-publishing. You want it always to be digital. And then she sent them like July 2nd, obviously, because she said, let me know when the books are out.
So we were going to get a sneak peek, but I can't find the file.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give you guys, because she sent me 3 covers, and while I have people, you know, I can get a vote on which cover you guys would like to see. So that was my goal, is because she did so amazing on all of them that I just don't know which one I would be like choosing
Yeah.
at the end of it. So yeah,
We're just gonna have to get the book and find out, right?
that's the other option. I'm just gonna check this email really quick, and then if it's not here, I know it's in my downloads, but for some reason can't find stuff when I need to find stuff.
Always, yeah. In the meantime, I did drop the links in the chat for the 2 different astrology events that I was just mentioning for next month.
All right. Oh, no. Okay, here we go. Downloads. July. What was the date that I just showed you guys? July 2nd?
July
July 3rd?
2nd. Yeah. So just I think
Okay, here we are.
yay.
Okay, let me just move these to, let me delete this. I'm not allowed to see that. Okay. Um, all right, where is it? Cool, I found it. So this is gonna be book, shoot, I don't even know, 2 or 3.
2.
Depends on.
I think you said 2, right? Yeah. You're working on the second
No,
one?
no, no. I already have someone else is gonna do the cover for that one.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Do you see the cover?
Oh, how nice.
So
Can you
she took
share
her
it?
wedding signage and put some background, which I didn't even ask her to. I just said like I was okay with a plain white cover, and that's what she did. So
Can
oh,
you
book 4 right there. Okay, yeah, Entwine series book 4.
can you
And
share
that is
the
going to be our
setting
second
is
chance romance book, basically.
okay. It looks
And
like it's set in the countryside somewhere like in India.
that was yeah, that's kind of what she's like implying, but it's going to be set in London and the US,
Oh, okay.
in California and London.
Well, we are excited for that. Geet, again, thank you so, so much. It's been a pleasure just diving in with you, kind of seeing behind the scenes what was special and important about these characters and this novel, and learning more about what you do and how you're growing. So thank you so much for your time. Everybody on the call, thank you for joining. And please do follow Geet's page and reach out to her with any questions. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.